Thank you for joining the Two Minds Connect podcast, sponsored by Canyon 3D, with your host, Benny Martin and Ty Canyon. Do you have a need for 3D printing products and services? Look no further. Canyon 3D is a retailer of 3D printers from companies like Creality and ANET, along with being producers of our own PLA filament in over 50 colors and patterns. We also have a wide selection of 3D printing resins from Applied Lab work that are built for Formlabs, Anycubic, and Moai printers, just to name a few. We are also a 3D printing service bureau specializing in stereolithography and FDM technologies, using only the best professional 3D printers to produce virtually any model. So whether you need a medical, dental, or general purpose model, we've got you covered. So check us out today at www.canyon3d.com. Place an order using the promo code podcast and get a 15% discount. This offer won't last, so act fast to take advantage of this special offer. Peace. Hey, what's good? Welcome back to the Two Minds Connect podcast. Glad to be here today with my boy Benny. This is Ty Canyon. How you doing, bro?
Everything is good, man. I just celebrated a birthday over this weekend on the 4th. And
happy birthday.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, happy belated birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. No
problem,
bro. Celebrated with some family and friends, and just relax. Today's a holiday, Labor Day, and not working, so enjoying spending some time with my bro.
Man.
And
yes, sir.
Keep moving forward and doing what we're doing, man. So
definitely,
happy. Everything's good. How about
That's what's up. Oh man, great, bro. Finally made it back to Germany. I'm sure everybody that's listening, they know that, I've been kind of stuck in the States for a little over a month, but finally made it back on the 2nd and just enjoying peace and quiet and solitude, all the things that I treasure. Just enjoying being back here. Beautiful weather. I came back to some beautiful weather here in Germany, which is a rarity, as most people know. But man, I can't even tell you how happy I am to be back here and be back with you, my brother. So we can talk about a great topic today.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So what's going on? I mean, what do you see in the news these days that's got your head ringing?
Actually, I was looking at I was on LinkedIn this morning, and this guy was posting about the Colorado River. They're issuing a lot of warnings and concern that the Colorado River basin is drying up, and that's going to put a lot of states on alert, because a lot of farmers and a lot of people depend on that water for everyday survival.
Absolutely.
It's a huge river, going down I think the Central America. East is going through Central America, and a lot of people depend on that river for water. So
the Colorado River is pretty much the Western United States. So states like Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, I believe New Mexico, Utah. I mean, all of these states are going to be affected by it. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing I was watching or seeing in the news today about just what's going on in the U.S. There was one other thing. It'll come to my head when
No, I mean that's interesting about the Colorado River, because I used to live in Las Vegas, and this was early 2000s when I lived out there, and they were talking about this back then, which is kind of interesting. I've been to Hoover Dam several times, and that's where the Colorado River kind of runs off. It kind of comes through that. So there was always, and then also Lake Mead, which is also in that area, there's the water from the Colorado River actually comes in through there, and our Lake Mead is dry. It pretty much doesn't even exist anymore. As far as I know, I haven't been out there in several years, but I've seen, pictures and things like that on the internet, and yeah, it's like dried up, so that's interesting. And kind of unfortunate, given all the water that's used in Las Vegas for like the Bellagio, the little water show and stuff like that. I'm wondering, I wonder if maybe they could have saved some of that water if they had been doing all this elaborate stuff there as far as trying to attract visitors and everything like that. And,
I'll figure out a way to make that water digital.
Yeah,
water
NFTs, we need to get a water NFT, non-fungible token for water now. I mean, that's kind of sad, man. Well, it's actually funny because I saw something on LinkedIn as well. And now they have so NFTs are, right? The non-fungible tokens that people use to they can buy works of art and things like that, trading cards, all different types of stuff. Well, now they have yes. Right. Now they have NFTs that you can actually wear. So you can buy like a t-shirt that has an NFT, associated on it or associated with it. So I think, and I mean, I'm like, man, like we're really, really seeing the future now, like, because I think about like, looking at like old TV shows and like old movies that depict the future from back in like the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, how they had like people wearing clothes that had like digital stuff on it. Now it's here, so so it's kind of interesting when you look at it, when you see stuff like that. So very cool.
Absolutely. We're definitely on the cusp of something great, man. With a lot of these companies like Virgin, Tesla, Amazon,
right?
Try to take artificial intelligence, going to Mars and beyond, and doing all these things with robotics.
Right.
On the brink of just completely changing the face of our globe, man. So
right.
I definitely think once all that really hits, it's definitely going to move really fast.
Oh, for sure.
Because once machines just start doing things, for themselves, it's just going to be
it's interesting because a lot of people might feel like, well, these machines and these robots and things like that are going to replace us, and so there's kind of a double-edged sword there, especially from a business standpoint, because if you're involved in any of those industries, or if you're involved in tech in a lot of ways, these are things that you can incorporate into your business. And also from an investment standpoint, if you're an investor, if you buy stock, things of that nature, you can now, you can buy these companies like NVIDIA, like Tesla, like, Amazon, and, AMD, the big chip, all the chip manufacturers that are where their technology is going to power a lot of this stuff. So from that standpoint, there's a lot of interest and there's a lot of people that are getting rich off of this stuff, and it's interesting. But again, I think it's a double-edged sword, because if you're not involved in those industries, if you're not doing anything within these technologies, or if you do a technology or an industry that is, many would say, on the downside, that's going to be replaced by this, how is that going to affect those people? So that's something that for sure has a double edge, and it's something that we got to watch out for. So and also from the aspect of adapting to these new technologies, we have to also be aware that, hey, technology is changing, but we have to stay on top. Otherwise, we're going to get left behind. So
absolutely. I definitely agree.
Yes, sir.
Change with the times, man. You have to.
Indeed.
Because change is going to come,
Yeah, it's going to come whether you like it or not. Yeah,
exactly. So
absolutely, bro.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. So today, man, we got a great topic for the audience, and we're going to talk about disease. So maybe not in the sense that a lot of people would think that we would talk about it, because again, this is a mental health podcast. So we like to explore, our mental capabilities, our mental strengths, our mental weaknesses, and things of that nature. So let's just start with the term disease. How would you describe it, or how would you term that word diseze?
Actually, I'm gonna use that's a good question, by the way. But I'm gonna use a real life, situation, or a real life experience. Being in the military, when you're going through formation and marching, when you're done, the first thing when you're getting ready to break from formation, the first thing to say is at ease.
Right.
And at ease is basically to relax. And so, ease is kind of associated with the word relaxing, the body being at point of relaxation. So dis-ease is, to me, the opposite of being in a relaxed state or at an ease state. Is being, probably anxious or stressed or any of those type of things. So, when the body's not at ease, it's stressed, it's anxious, and all those other type of things, anger, all that. And so when the body's not in a relaxed state, you can get all types of ailments and issues and things of that.
Absolutely.
That nature, man. So
yeah,
that's how I feel about the word. How about you?
I totally agree. Totally agree. When I first heard that word broken down from dis to ease, it made complete sense to me. And I think I first heard it from, I think I might have heard it from Dr. Sadie. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I heard him, break that term down from that standpoint. So this is basically a root for missing or without, right? And then ease is actually, as you put it, the easing of the body, the easing of whatever it is. And so when you combine those two parts of the word, you create now this full word that has now a lot of meaning and a lot of different things that are associated with it. So, but we were going to look at the mental aspect of disease. So what would you say are some mental aspects of disease that maybe a lot of people might not be familiar with?
So I believe all disease starts in the mind. Whatever happens to the body happens in the mind first.
Right.
Especially like people who experience a lot of trauma in their life, or their family has experienced trauma over their lifetime, and they pass it down to the children. Whatever mental issues that a person or their family is dealing with is going to show itself in a physical way.
Right.
If you're stressed from work, or you're dealing with issues at school, being bullied, being picked on, or things of those type of issues. If that energy or if those issues aren't resolved, they're going to internalize within the person, and they're going to constantly visit those issues. They're going to if a person says that they're ugly or they're fat or I don't like you, they're constantly internalizing that and they don't feel good about themselves. Those issues are going to move to different parts of the body, and start to wreak havoc, and that they turn into anger and sadness, depression, and people start to eat more or smoke or try to deal with it in a different type of way that might not be good. So unless they have an outlet, someone to speak to, or a psychologist or parents that can help them deal with those issues, or if they're able to stand up for themselves and give it right back, when it is internalized, it will wreak havoc on the system. So
yeah, absolutely.
What you think about that?
Oh, totally agree. Totally agree. And it's definitely, the way you just broke that down is definitely something that a lot of people overlook, because when people are depressed, it's now a disease. It's now something that is treatable and things of that nature. However, years ago, it wasn't. It was like, oh, you need to whatever, you need to drink or you need to do something to take your mind off of whatever it is that's bothering you, instead of actually addressing the issue. And all of those things that you mentioned with regard to getting to that stage are for sure part, what leads to that type of disease, which is, depression. So I totally agree with the way you broke that down. And I love the way you broke that down, because a lot of people don't think about this. They don't think about the mental traumas that we go through, whether we go through it growing up or we go through it now as adults. There's a lot of things that go on, and it just kind of builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. Just like if you had a terminal illness, like you had cancer or you had heart disease or something like that, years and years of bad living, whether you do drugs or you do things that can lead to those illnesses. I'm not going to say list all of them or say all of them, because I don't want people to say, well, you don't necessarily can get that doing that. I don't want to go into all of that. But basically, yeah, I mean, when you have years and years and years of doing things to yourself, whether it's like eating a lot or consuming different substances and things of that nature, it's the exact same thing with mental illness. When you have years and years and years of negative reinforcement or negativity being thrown at you, or you have stresses that you go through, or traumas that you go through, from that standpoint, it leads to that type of disease. And that's exactly what we're and that's exactly right, as you pointed out. And another thing is that people think that these things that we go through, there's like a magic pill for it, like we can take some drugs and do some things like that. I was actually just listening to another podcast, and there was a woman on the show who was talking about some things that she went through and everything, and how she had a brother who was he was depressed, and he ended up killing himself. And shout out to her and his family. But the thing was that the doctors didn't really help. They kind of just gave him drugs. They said, take this, take this, take this. And then when those didn't work, they gave him stronger drugs and things like that. So that's my point, is that there's no magic pill to resolving these things. I mean, what do you say about that?
I definitely agree. I believe that the only way to change a disease in the body is to change the mind, and how they feel about themselves, because the disease is created from differentiation from the norm. you know, you going against what your body normally needs. And disease arises because it's not either getting what it needs or it's getting too much of, you know, but the body's not balanced. So so it's like, you know, you're trying to find a way to bring the body back into balance. So a person who is looking for a quick cure, words
quick fix
this morning, but
you're good, man. You're good.
People who are looking for a quick way out don't realize that they never changed the mindset behind what created the issue in the first place. They're just trying to solve the problem really quickly to get rid of the issue.
Absolutely.
But if your mind continues to stay the same way, you're just going to recreate the patterns that caused it to begin with. Maybe you might not go back to drinking, but you might, if you're still dealing with the same stressors, you might find a different outlet. You might go to smoking, or you might go to something else, and it might, an issue might arise in a different area or the same area, but just a different disease. So it's, the quick way out doesn't help the person to solve the issue from themselves. It just gives them a quick fix so that they can continue. Oh, I got this taken care of. You know, I could go back to living my life, and they just continue on. That's, you know, from my perspective. You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. And very, very well put. Again, like, no, there's no quick fixes, and these things take time. It takes time and it takes effort, as you pointed out. And then the problem, though, is that, you know, people are willing to, want to be healthy. They want to have mental health. They want to have physical health, but they're not willing to work for it, you know, and that's definitely something that we need to make clear and need to incorporate in our own lives, is that every day is a struggle, you know, when you're dealing with things like this, and you have to take those steps to get better. You know, you have to do things like we're going to mention a little bit later, some solutions that could potentially work for some. But again, it's not a quick fix, and it's a lot of work that's involved. So we definitely need to keep that in mind. Also, our environment, the environments that we live in, reside in. I mean, we kind of went back and forth about this as we were preparing for the show, talking about like, oh, well, this environment's better. This environment is. But what do you think about the different environments that we reside in? I mean, how does that affect us?
I'm definitely going to address that. I want to go back to something you said.
Oh, sure.
About,
go ahead.
Yeah, about being able to address the issue and to work towards it, and know that, you know, it's not an easy road.
Right.
You know, like getting yourself back into health after years of abusing the body and the mind will take just as much effort, if not more, to remove the issue. I dealt with a couple people who came to me with some issues, and you know, they just was looking for some juices or some better ways to eat to help with their issue. So I told them, you know, I can give you some juices that will help with the issue, and, you know, some better some meals that you could prepare that will help.
Right.
But for your issue, you're definitely going to need to do a complete life change. And, you know, after going through the conversations of letting them know what was required, they just stopped communication, because they realized that it was a lot more work than they were expecting it to be. I told them, it's like, you know, I'm not going to give you something if I don't believe it's going to work for you. A juice is not going to fix your issue.
No.
A couple of good meals is not going to fix it either.
I wish it was that simple.
Yeah. You know, I know this from experience. You think that, you know, you can get a couple juices in and change a couple meals up, and you think it's going to fix it. Yeah. But you realize that, you have to completely change your mentality and your lifestyle. Absolutely. To get you to a place that you want to. And I try to help people understand that and, let them know that, this is not I don't want to just give you something, like kind of like a pill and tell you to go off somewhere and you come back and say, well, that didn't work. So, right. This is a full program that you have to go through. And
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could eat some General Tso's chicken and then feel a lot better. Right. But that ain't happening. That'll probably feel worse, with eating all of that stuff. But no, I love it. But that's moderation.
I know, man. Like you go into a lot of these healthy food places where they're trying to promote healthy food, but try to keep the taste up to par so people can still come in there and buy the food. But then the food doesn't end up being healthy. No. You just made it a little bit. I mean, you're using plants. Yeah. But you're over sweetening it. Or,
they're trying to make it more, making it more palatable, so when you taste it, it's not, I don't taste plants, or I don't taste soy, or I don't taste, whatever the, replace whatever that protein is going to be to replace whatever was taken out from the animal, taken to replace the animal product. That's what they do. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah. But environment. So that ties into it though. The food that we eat, the things that we consume, where we live, where we work, where we play, where we spend time with our families, where we go on vacation, the things that we do. I mean, how does that affect us from the standpoint of disease and mental health?
I think environments in themselves carry their own framework for health. You go into a major city like New York, which I was there about a month ago, or a little over a month ago, where as soon as you're crossing from Jersey into New York, I mean, you can see the haze over the city. You can tell the difference of the air quality once you get there. And going into places like Harlem and Brooklyn and, places like that. And, people live on top of each other, trash on the streets and, it just mentally, it doesn't, when you see it, it doesn't give you I'm gonna say for myself, it doesn't give you a positive feel. It doesn't give you a good feeling within yourself. For someone else, it might, but for me, it definitely doesn't do that. Absolutely. It just, as soon as I got there, I was on alert. I got tense because down in the South, there's not as much traffic as it is up there. So people drive very spaced out. But as soon as you get to New York, people are bumper to bumper. I'm like, yo, like you need to ease up. And like I realized like I was immediately like put on like this alert and got really tense because of the environment. Everybody's moving very fast and talking really fast. You can't really, just have this relaxed conversation because everybody's just moving. So it definitely doesn't feel like a place for health. But some people are able to adapt to the environment. People are able to find a place of solitude within the environment. So there are definitely variations to it, but I would say just the environments themselves, like being here in Augusta, Georgia, where the air is clean, people live very far from each other, the water is good, all that, and people are very friendly versus going up there and almost opposite. I would say like the environment in themselves definitely feel like this area is more promoted for health. But I think it also depends on like your personal environment, the people you live around, how you interact with your environment. You know, what do you do?
Yes.
Do you exercise every day? Do you have people there that promote your well-being? Do you have just a good environment around you? Because you can live out here and you can live around people that are very destructive and very negative. So the physical environment doesn't always mean that you're not going to have a good experience or a positive environment. So because there's ghettos and hoods here and places where there's there are those type of negative influences environment. So so there's a lot of dynamics to it, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely different parallels to it, because when you talk about New York and you talk about how you felt when you went in there and you saw the haze and saw the pollution and just the environment was more, I guess, more gritty, more grimy, I guess you can say. But people there, there's a lot of health food stores there. There's a lot of vegan restaurants, and there's a lot of yoga studios and all these things that we associate with being healthy. But then you go down south where the air quality is better, there's more trees, there's no garbage, people are spaced out, as you say, but you'd be hard pressed to find a vegan restaurant, in a lot of these suburban type environments and yoga studios. And I mean, we were actually talking about this yesterday. So I was in East Amherst, New York, where I, have a residence, and I was walking around, I was going for walks and things like that around the neighborhood, around the area. And you wouldn't find, I was hard pressed to find anybody on the street walking, running, riding a bike, doing anything, but the air quality was great. There was a lot of trees, there was no garbage, there was none of that. So it's just interesting how there's so many, the parallels are so, interesting, because in one place where it's dirty, it's, there's a lot of pollution, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of people and a lot of, just a lot of activity, but you have all this healthy stuff. But then you go out in the suburbs and there's none of that, where, you got in the suburbs where it's quiet and things of that nature. And then there's none of that stuff that we would associate with being healthy. So I just think that's a very interesting parallel.
Oh, absolutely, man. Especially, I agree with that, because out here in Augusta, man, there's not a lot of health food places. You have to travel pretty far to get to a decent spot, man.
Wow.
And like you said, like a lot of people around here don't go out during the day. You barely see people. I mean, I live primarily around a lot of older retired people.
Right.
They don't come out.
Stay in the house anyway.
Right.
They go sit in the house with a fan going, AC, and all of that.
I barely know any of the people that live around here. So, but like growing up in the city, everybody. People on your block. People around in your neighborhood, because everything's so close by, and people tend to, even though it's a little bit more like grimy, people are a little bit more like watchful. They understand the neighborhood, man.
Right.
And I also, being that I grew up in the city, you understand that if you're able to survive through that, you can survive anywhere, man.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting, because when I went home, I went to Buffalo. I went to the city of Buffalo, where I'm born and raised, and drove around and was showing my kids like where I went to high school and like where I would, my old neighborhood and stuff like that. And, just driving through some of the neighborhoods, you see like block party, or this is a block party, this street's block party, or neighborhood watch and stuff like that. Like you don't see that in the suburbs, and you damn sure don't see it over here in Europe. Like that's like that's not even happening. Like if I was to start a block party on my street here in Stuttgart, people be looking at me like, what the hell is this American doing? What is he talking about? You know, but I think that, yeah, but that, you know, that's a part of the environment though. And even though the environment to many doesn't seem like it's, you know, on the up and up, but people still manage to live a long time and live great lives in those environments, despite the environmental factors that we see and the things that we hear and things of that nature. But people still tend to, you know, there's still going to be old people on the block that, you know, been living there for 50 years or whatever, or since they were born, and they still manage to live a long time and live good lives. You know, not necessarily the length of time isn't really material. It's about how they live. Did they live a happy life? Did they live in an environment where they were loved and respected and cherished and things of that nature? So definitely some different dynamics and some different parallels there, but I think that's very interesting. So
absolutely, bro. Definitely.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about some solutions, bro. I mean, we can go on and on about the environments and what, you know, how disease affects us and things like that, and things that happen to us that causes disease. But what do you think are some good solutions that we could possibly drop on the audience?
Oh, definitely. I think this is one we talked about for a good minute yesterday. Which was self-reflection.
Yeah.
Being able to give yourself time to reflect on the issue that you have and trace back like where this issue may have arrived from. Understanding the disease itself, what does it do? Where is it at in the body? And what does that area of the body do for you,
right?
And understanding those two together, like, okay, let's say I have I'm just going to use an example like cancer.
Yes.
You know, cancer is a issue where you have abnormal cell growth, like cells that are just growing completely out of control because they're bypassing the signals in the brain, the signals in the body that tell cells to start growing and stop growing.
Right.
Yeah. So this is an issue that, you know, it's an invader that comes in and just starts to take over the body.
Right.
And let's say it's in the lungs, and if you understand like what the lungs do, they provide oxygen, which supply the body with air, that vital air for the body, and provides oxygen to the bloodstream, and allows you to breathe, and breathe allows your body to relax. Like if you understand those two together, you have an invader that's taken over the lungs that gives you vitality for your body. You could say that, you know, maybe there's some external invader that's taken over my life that's stealing my vitality.
Right.
But, you know, being able to do that type of troubleshooting with looking at the disease and looking at how it's associated within yourself, you can gain some understanding as to, you know, why this may have occurred by associating a physical reality or looking at the disease and associating it to your life.
Absolutely.
And seeing how that relates.
Yeah, for sure. It's about taking an inventory. You got to look at, okay, you use the example of cancer. Okay, so I'll just stay on that. So there's different types of cancers. There's cancer that, you know, affects every area of our body. I mean, our body is a big surface, and it can affect us anywhere. But primarily, you know, the main ones we look at is like skin cancer, lung cancer, you know, bone marrow, you know, stuff like that. But when we talk about, so taking an inventory is basically looking at, okay, when you talked about where it is in the body, okay, if it's lung cancer, I need to take an inventory of how that got there. So did I smoke? Did I drink? I mean, a lot of people don't think that it can affect you, drinking can affect it, but it does. Did I was I exposed to things like asbestos and other chemicals and things like that? I mean, that's part of taking an inventory. So that's part of the work that we were referring to earlier, is that we need to, whenever we get a disease or some type of disease or ailment, we need to take an inventory and say, okay, I did all these things, or I was exposed to all these things. Now I need to eliminate that, from my life. I mean, obviously, if you get cancer, you're not going to be smoking and drinking, hopefully no more. But if it's something that's, lesser, maybe if it's, something that's not as serious, but something that, hey, it could possibly lead to something like that, then that's when we have to take those steps to eliminate those things from that inventory and then replace it with a better inventory. So, and then we'll talk about that in a second, but that's what we mean by that is we got to take an inventory and we got to look at what caused it, and then we got to look at making a solution to it. So what do you say?
Oh no, I agree, man. You definitely have to be able to, like you said, like take an inventory of everything associated with the disease. Where it's located, how it may have got there. Look at the whole history of it. When it arrived and what was I doing during that time
Right.
that may have caused that, or what may have led up to that time that may have triggered it.
Right.
You look at a lot of like a lot of addicts or a lot of people with diseases. I'm pretty sure there's some emotional traumatic experience in their life that was the cause of that uh, addiction or
Right.
that disease arriving in their body.
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure if you can figure out what that issue is and where the disease is on the body, I'm pretty sure they're closely related.
Absolutely. For sure.
So being able to take inventory and understand the whole history of the issue, you'll be able to better treat it and come up with a solution.
Definitely. Yeah, man. So we were talking also about Qigong. So this is something that you do on a regular. It's a practice that you've incorporated into your life, and now you're helping people with that. So talk a little bit about Qigong and how that could be a solution.
Absolutely. When I first heard of Qigong was, when I first started doing martial arts.
Okay.
And I found out that Qigong was a system. It's a Chinese martial art that is used to help build qi or energy within the body.
Right.
The form of Qigong that I do also has an aspect to it where you use sounds, and these sounds, these sounds are very specific to organs. Right. So some way they were able to figure out that that each organ has a vibrational frequency, and every vibration and frequency has a sound. So the sounds that we make help to remove negative or excess heat from those organs, which help to promote health, to cool that area of the organ off, and to allow the vibration to balance itself out, so that and just to go back, we focus on the feminine organs, and the feminine organs are the ones that are responsible for attracting things to you.
Okay.
Feminine organs are, or feminine is the negative aspect of the body, which draws in. So the sounds that we do help to promote the health of the feminine organs, which help the law of attraction with drawing what resources and things that you need within your life.
Now you said feminine organs?
Feminine organs. Yeah.
Okay. So what? Go ahead.
So within the body, you have masculine and feminine organs, just like you have like a masculine and feminine side of the brain.
Right.
And they both have their dynamics. You know, everybody has a feminine and masculine dynamic to themselves. But each aspect, like the feminine and masculine, they operate in very specific ways. They do different things for the body.
Okay.
Like the feminine organs are responsible for drawing things in. The masculine organs are responsible for pushing things out.
Pushing things out. Okay. Okay. Room? No. Okay. So what's an example of a feminine organ?
The heart. The heart, okay. The liver, the kidneys, the spleen, and the lungs.
Okay.
Those are examples of feminine organs.
Okay. So, and what are examples of masculine organs?
The stomach, the pancreas. I don't know the masculine ones off the top of my head. There's a few, but I could definitely leave a list of those at that.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get that because I didn't know that, you know, so I'm just I'm like, okay, what are those? You know, what is it? Yeah. I'm like, I'm a dude. Like, what do you mean I got feminine organs? What are you talking about? I ain't got no.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't have
a lot of people look at it. a lot of people the word feminine automatically associate with the female.
Right. Right.
But it's actually the energy itself. Gotcha. Like the sun is a predominantly masculine energy because the sun gives out energy. Mm-hmm. It gives life through giving energy. Mm-hmm. The earth is primarily a feminine energy because it absorbs the sunlight and it creates life out of it. Gotcha. So the dynamics between those two are, you know, life is promoted on the earth, but from the sun, life is given.
Right.
From men, our predominant energy is masculine because we give life through, you know, ejaculating into a woman and giving their seed, and women absorb their energy, life. So
absolutely, yeah, no, great. Thank you for breaking that down, brother.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So again, we talked about taking an inventory. Now we talked about Qigong. Now let's get into some things that we can consume, you know, things that we could possibly use to remediate a lot of the issues that we may have with regard to disease, whether it's physical or mental. So herbal remedies. You want to touch on that real quick?
Oh, absolutely. Herbs are very good for the body. They're concentrated with a lot of minerals and nutrients.
Yeah.
So they help to remove any type of issues within the body really quickly because of their concentration of vitamins and minerals. I'm not going to speak on any specific herb or vitamin because depending on what it is that you're experiencing, the herb is going to be different.
Absolutely.
Especially like, you know, whatever organ or wherever the issue may lie, you're going to use different herbs to get rid of the issue. You know, the lungs are metallic, or the lungs in Qigong are associated with metal. The heart fire, the liver is, oh man, let me not get into that.
We'll save it for the
There's elemental properties to each organ. So you're going to choose herbs based on those elemental properties. There's a good master herbalist up in New York. His name is Patrick Dales. He has a channel on YouTube. Where you can, I mean, this guy breaks down herbs to a science. you know, and the whole elements of the organs and stuff like that. Actually, do I have it? Yeah, the actual video is called "The Organs and the Elements of the Earth." It's on YouTube. You can check it out. And he breaks down each organ, their elements, what herbs are good for them, and how they work together, and how they're, you know, how they're promoted, promoted through the right types of right types of living. You know, and you know how you can give them what they need to thrive.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because again, we go back to talking about cancer. So I found a list of cancer fighting herbs. So things like turmeric, ginger, garlic, cayenne pepper, cinnamon. I mean, a lot of people that juice and things like that, you find those ingredients in a lot of those juices. And there's it's no secret that these herbs are very, very helpful to preventing cancer. And then even now, it's becoming something that is used as a remedy to help people that have it. So, but you can find lists and lists of various herbs that you can use for different ailments. As Benny pointed out, the Patrick Delves website, he has a YouTube channel, but he also has a website. It's called christiebooks.biz, and I will drop that in the description. So shout out to him, shout out to Patrick Delves if he ever listens to the show, probably not, but if you ever listen to the show, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for your great work and for educating us on this topic and allowing us to present it. And then, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't already mention him earlier in the show, but Dr. Sadie. So Dr. Sadie is one of our generation's pronounced and profound herbalists and dietitians and just healers. So this man has been, when he was alive, and rest in power to you, Dr. Sadie. You're a long distance spiritual guide for me in my, journey to better health. But anyway, there's a list of what he calls electric and alkaline foods. So there's a litany of different things that you can incorporate into your diet. He's a vegan. We considered a vegan, but more in a plant-based type of mode. I'm not a vegan. I dabbled with it and played with it, but just not my thing. I love to eat, chicken and steak and all of that. I don't eat too much pork, but every now and then I have some. But of course, I like to incorporate those, the things that Dr. Sadie lists on his list of alkaline foods into the things that I eat that aren't on the list. So things like avocados and lots of fruits and different vegetables and herbs and things like that. I always incorporate those into my diet, and I feel amazing after doing it. Another thing is intermittent fasting. So people are having issues with, having health issues and things like that. Realize that you need to give your body a rest. Even in the short span of 24 hours, you have to give your body and your intestines and your core, you have to give it some time to recover and to recuperate. So by not putting anything in it or putting very little into it, that can also remediate a lot of issues that we have with disease and different ailments and things of that nature. And as someone who's started intermittent fasting, I actually started it about a month ago, pretty much right after I recovered from COVID. I'm like, man, I'm putting a lot of garbage in my body. I'm putting a lot of, just a lot of toxins from the foods that we eat and things. Let me give my body a break. Let me wait until, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon before I eat anything solid, but in between that, ginger tea and, just water and, just anything that, is easily digestible to the body. You can incorporate that, and that's just my little tidbit to throw in. But yeah, I think definitely looking at those lists from Dr. Sadie and from Patrick Delves can give you a good blueprint as to some things you can incorporate to alleviate disease. So there you have it.
That's definitely a good breakdown, man. Definitely, Dr. Sebi has a lot of knowledge on alkaline foods. Mm-hmm. Electric foods are really good for the body. Yeah. It just helps promote good electricity within the physical mm-hmm. cell,
right?
And that helps to keep disease out of the body,
right?
When you have like groups of cells that start to become, what do you call it? Is it malignant, or there's a word that I'm trying to think of, but groups of cells that start mm-hmm. to go against what the body is used to. Mm-hmm. Alkaline foods, the electricity or the vitamins and minerals that's within the food help to break that mm-hmm. down and
right.
push it out of the body.
Absolutely.
You just think of like what electricity does.
Well, our body is made of electrons. We are, walking electronic beings. That's right. What people don't realize. But when we bring those quote unquote electric foods into our system, that's helping those things within us to fire, to send yep. energy and to send messages to our bodies. And if we're not consuming things that are allowing us to do that, that allows, cellular growth where it shouldn't be. I mean, we do need to have cells produce and things of that nature, especially if we're overcoming an illness or even just a cut on your hand. Those cells are used to repair. However, if we're not consuming the right things, then that's where we get stuck, and that's where our bodies get stuck. And that's when things like, disease, as we refer to in terminal illness, that's when those things can manifest. So
absolutely, man.
Very well put. Definitely. Absolutely, bro. Definitely. So just last thing, man. I mean, you have any last words, any last thoughts on the topic?
Oh, absolutely, man. Definitely check out the brother Dick Gregory. He has a good YouTube video called Complete Truth.
Yep.
2015/2021 remastered with 7 minutes of previously unseen material. That's the name of the video. But just search Dick Gregory Complete Truth. It's about a little over 2 hour mm-hmm. video. But you want to go to 2 hours and 1 minute into the video is when he starts breaking down what emotions affect what organs. Like what negative emotions affect the organs negatively,
right?
What positive emotions affect which organs, positively. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a good video to watch if you can see the whole thing. But if you mm-hmm. want to just get that aspect of it, definitely check that part.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
We didn't talk about the As a Man Thinketh or do that one little section, but
drop it.
Oh, absolutely. There's a book by a man named James Allen called As a Man.
Might be your brother. No.
Yeah, but he wrote a really good book, As a Man Thinketh, and in the 3rd chapter, he talks about how thoughts affect disease. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna share a small section of chapter 3 for you real quick. And it goes like this. Disease and health, like circumstances, are rooted in thought. Sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. Thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as speedily as a bullet, and they are continually killing thousands of people just as surely, though less rapidly. The people who live in fear of disease are the people who get it. Anxiety quickly demoralizes the whole body and lays it open to the entrance of disease, while impure thoughts, even if not physically indulged, will soon shatter the nervous system. Strong, pure, and happy thoughts build up the body in vigor and grace. The body is a delicate and plastic instrument, which responds readily to the thoughts by which it is impressed, and habits of thought will produce their own effects, good or bad, upon it. Men will continue to have impure and poisoned blood so long as they propagate unclean thoughts. Out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of a defiled mind proceeds a defiled life or an incorrupt body. Thought is the fount of action, life and manifestation. Make the fountain pure and all will be pure. Change of diet will not help a man who will not change his thoughts. When a man makes his thoughts pure, he no longer desires impure food. If you would perfect your body, guard your mind. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. Thoughts of malice, envy, disappointment, despondency rob the body of its health and grace. A sour face does not come by chance, it is made by sour thoughts.
Wow.
So, that was a powerful section of the book that just highlights, the thoughts are the root of the causes of disease.
Absolutely.
And whatever experiences that you're having in reality, negative or positively, are all rooted in how you think.
Well put, brother. Well put, man. Yep. I think we can wrap with that, my man. So
absolutely, bro.
Yeah, thank you for that, brother. Housekeeping items. So thanks to our sponsor, Canyon 3D. We're on Facebook. So at 2 Minds Connect, so the number 2 Minds Connect. So hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, at the word 2 Minds Connect. So TWO Minds Connect. Hit us up there, follow us, and check out that for coming some new exclusive materials. So we're going to be dropping some exclusive stuff on our Instagram page, and just look for that real soon. So, man, great show, brother. Thank you so much.
Oh, definitely, man. I think this was a really great show as well, man.
Yes,
and I'm always delighted to do this with, my mans, man. So,
no doubt, bro. No doubt, man. Well,
always
thank
doing
you.
Great things, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. It's definitely an honor and a privilege and a pleasure. So from us at the 2 Minds Connect show, this is Ty Canyon.
This is Benny Martin, man.
All right, y'all. We're going to say peace for now, and y'all have a good one. Peace.